Thank you and welcome again, Vidushi Jaya Jog, ma'am. So we will do a very short form of interview today. My first question to you is: Your life took a beautiful turn once you began your talim from your guru, Ustad Usman Khan. Please tell us a
Yeah,
little bit. Yeah, please tell us a little bit about your transformational experience. I mean, what change did you see in yourself after your talim started?
yeah. Actually, before we start, I must thank you and your team for giving me this opportunity to interact with you and all others, listeners. So let us start with my journey in music. So
Hmm,
actually, I come from a very non-musical family. My
hmm,
family, we are landlords actually. My family members, my poor grandfather, and they were. My grandfather was he owned a circus,
hmm,
and in my family, uh, main focus was on education and then uh, business
hmm.
and a farmer. We are farmers actually. So my uncle was looking after our joint खेती जिसको बोलते हैं ना
Hmm.
farming. So there was no music, and my all family members, my uncles and aunts, and my sisters, my parents, they were all very skeptical about music and being little emotional, or they used to call them emotional fools, and they used to make fun of it, fun of those. So I grew up with certain frame of mind that shedding tears and then being emotional is a sign of weakness, and I don't want to be a weak person. I want to become a stronger person. So automatically it was uh, I grew with the thought that no, I'm going to be strong, and music and being emotional, that I'm not going to do all that. And with this frame of mind, we
Hmm.
came down to Pune, and then I don't know how, but my mother had started learning sitar. Her
Hmm.
sitar was there in
Hmm.
the house. And finally, of course, when she got involved with my father was an eye surgeon.
Hmm.
When she
Okay.
got involved with my father's dispensary and his patients and clinic, so her sitar was just there on the loft.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
took it down. I used to play with it, and whatever I used to play, it
Hmm.
was it started. I started liking it, and then I joined the class. And
Hmm.
there also I was not very serious about practice and all. I used
Hmm.
to just go there and do time pass and all that. And one of my friends, she was also learning with me. We both were struggling with sitars and uh, learning, practice. Not, we were not practicing together. We were not practicing at all, actually. And then one day, she said, "Oh, no, no, I'm not going to learn. I'm not going to join. I'm going to discontinue with this class. I have
Hmm.
found someone else."
Hmm.
And I said, "Okay, fine." I started, but I continued with the same class, though I was not very happy about it. I continued with the same class.
Hmm.
And after 1 year or maybe 1.5 years, she invited me to a concert where she was going to sit on the stage and play the sitar.
Hmm.
That was a turning point in my life. I said, no, nothing doing. If she's play, how can she sit on the stage and play sitar
Hmm.
when I am struggling, still struggling, and she was also struggling with me, and she has come up so well, and I just couldn't take it.
Hmm.
And then I told her that whom you are learning from. I want to go and I want to start learning from him. That's how
Hmm.
I met Guruji. And then after I started learning from him, see, even though I started learning from Guruji, I had I was not focused totally on sitar, but his patience, his sincerity while teaching, and his soft spoken urge, you can say. So I started getting ashamed of myself. I said, no, no, no. If I need to practice more, and I'm going to take this uh, subject very seriously, because I want to uh, give respect to what um, Guruji's teaching. So I started taking practice seriously, and I started. And as I started taking practice seriously, I started practicing. Slowly, I started getting into it, and practicing notes, humming notes yourself, and it makes a lots and lots of difference, because just playing on the frets and humming notes yourself, it really transforms yourself. It goes into your bloodstream and it changes total chemical of your body. It nurtures your mind. And this I have experienced. I am myself experienced. And this changes you in and out. And that's how real metamorphosis happened with me. And I am composing music and practicing music and feeling moods of ragas. So that's
Brilliant.
how my journey started. Yeah.
Yes, brilliant. And like you said, the way his behavior was very soft spoken. This definitely helps you to, with an sincerity. We should also develop our music and that way.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome. Yeah. Yeah, that was a fantastic response. Thank you, ma'am. So our next question to you is, in India, you are one such artist who explored rag-based compositions as you composed so many compositions that you perform on stage. What inspired you to create rag-based compositions? Please tell us.
Actually, it's very difficult to tell at what moment I compose those compositions, because if you have sensitive mind, which I had, with lots and lots of efforts, finally I started feeling the raga, and then it's not only for music. You become sensitive for everything in life.
Hmm.
You become sensitive with nature. You become sensitive with society. You become sensitive with friends. Everything. Your
Hmm.
आपका जीना भी बहुत sensitive हो जाता है. So when I was most of the time, I got inspiration from Mother Nature. So when I was strolling in my garden, sometimes uh, I watch my plants growing, blooming, getting new flowers, and then something happens. And many times this happened that I frame of the Tala Chakra, that is already that comes before the actual notes. So that Tala Chakra starts rotating in my mind, and then slowly the notes, they come matching to the Tal Chakra. So it has happened so many times. And Mother Nature is the best inspiration for me, one thing. But sometimes, I'll tell you one thing. I went to an electronic shop with my friend, and she wanted to buy something, and the TV was going on in that shop.
Hmm.
There was a scene in that shop. There was a scene that um, there is a war on the frontier, and our soldiers, they are boarding the train going to the border, and their family and friends and their fiancés, they were there to see them off. And that particular moment was so sensitive and so um, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, because on their face uh, it was clearly written that I don't know whether I'm going to see him again or not. It was so
Wow.
uh, moment. And at that time, I felt Marwa, Rag Marwa.
Wow.
And yeah, and that time, that composition, only one line was there. Then I had to do lots of brainstorming. But that was the moment when I thought of Marwa. And in that mood of Marwa, that composition was composed by me. So such small things, if you're alert, if you're sensitive, such things can happen. And when it happens, why it happens, very difficult to say.
Beautiful. Wow. Beautiful. Very thought provoking. And yes, why I asked this question was it is, I mean, we all feel feelings, but only an extremely sensitive mind, which is also musically rich, can compose music. So that's what I
Yeah.
see in you. Yeah, perfect. Okay, my next question to you is so during this time of your talim, when you started your talim with your Guruji, what sort of music did you listen to, and what sort of music do you listen to now after 20-25 years of your talim?
Okay, okay. See, initially I come from a non-musical family, so whatever music means we used to have poems. We used to have music classes in our school.
Mm,
Our school was having music classes, so it was limited to that only. And then when I grew up, we came down to Pune, and then we started listening filmy music. But when I started with my Guruji, so he told me to, if you want to listen, you listen to classical music.
mm,
That's what he told me. And then he said, you can listen to any music.
mm,
That is not necessarily sitar. You listen to any music that is vocal, uh, instrumental, or even orchestral type also.
mm,
But better you stick to classical form of music.
mm,
So I started listening that,
mm,
and I, he told me that as it's for your own study that you
mm,
try to find out the notes of those compositions. So
mm.
that will help you in composing your own music.
Yes.
See? So, and that really helped me a lot.
True.
I listened to whatever music I used to listen. I tried to make notation. I tried to find out notation of those notes of that music. And then slowly, and then I tried to listen all sort of music, even Carnatic and jazz, Western. I tried to listen. I tried everything,
Mm.
but my mind is settled on classical music. That's it.
True, true, very true. Awesome, fantastic. So now we'll move on to the last uh, interview for last question of this interview. So I am personally a huge fan of orchestra music, and you have curated some fantastic musical shows, including creating compositions for an orchestra. One of them was Surel Samwad. Please tell us
Yeah.
your experience. Yeah, your experience in curating that orchestra and what were the challenges and how did you overcome the challenges to finally present a show that people loved?
Yeah. Surel Sawad was actually a brainchild of both of us. That is myself and my violinist friend.
Hmm.
We thought of because she also composes and she has few compositions with her, and we decided that let us present these compositions in
Hmm.
orchestral form. So first challenge was because uh, violin and sitar, they are totally different personality.
Hmm.
Both instruments have different personality. Sitar is a stroke instrument, violin is a bowed instrument. So instruments like sitar, sarod, where there you plug the string,
Hmm.
you have micro units of every beat. micro units. You can go up to micro units, and you can play so many formations of time, that is live rhythm. And with board instrument like violin or what else you can say, it's a flute, violin.
Yes.
It's very difficult for them. So whatever patterns or musical patterns or stroke patterns for क्या बोलते हैं उसको, rhythmic pattern. Whatever rhythmic patterns I used to compose, I have in my mind, it was very difficult to convert them into their language. Sitar and Maestro flute, violin and flute.
Violin.
Yeah, violin and flute. It was very difficult. So I took help of our tabla players, and they slowed down the rhythm, and then they explained it on their tabla. And on the tabla bowls, they explained it, and then they used to pick up in slow speed. And once they played it in slow speed, then they could pick up at the required speed. So this is how we had to experiment a lot. Few notes, they are not in the violin, low octave notes, which we had to transpose them, because if we had to change the scale otherwise. So such things we had to adjust, we had to think about it, we had to really brainstorm. We had to undergo brainstorming. But finally, it came out very well. And I'm very happy about it. And people simply love it because they say that we like classical music. But if you start, say, playing or singing one rag for half an hour, 45 minutes, then we get bored. But your compositions, which are hardly for 10 minutes max, but they have all essence of that raga, we thoroughly enjoy it. And that's very rewarding for me.
True. Very true. Absolutely. And I think only a great composer can talk like and share these technical details with you, which is very, I mean, I'm sure other musicians will learn from. Because as I said, I listen to a lot of music and rag-based compositions are very rare. I mean, people are experimenting with their bandishes and suppose Hindustani classical music with Ravindra Sangeet and stuff like that or fusion. I'm not talking about that. I am talking about the kind of compositions you are creating, pure rag-based compositions and melodies. This is very hard to do.
Yes.
I think that is why we love to listen to it. Other people also, your audience, live audience, because I think you have simplified such a hard music in 10 minutes in a beautiful melodic format, which is absolutely
And that was a big challenge actually. That was a big challenge.
True. Yeah,
because
that's right.
if you start explaining each and every phrase, musical phrase, though it is very much beautiful or whatever, but if you extend it too much, it becomes boring.
Very true.
So you have to keep it short and sweet.
True.
Then only your audience likes. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Because I am now an audience. I am not a musician. So from audience point of perspective only, I am saying whatever I'm saying. So yeah, thank you so much, Jaya ma'am, for sharing very rich knowledge in simple way.
My pleasure, and thank you very much, Reshma, for giving me exposure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for supporting IICA platform. It means a lot to us. Yeah, we'll come back again. We'll meet with you again.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.